Admiral, is the Lebanese army that is supported by the U.S., we receive millions of dollars over the years of military aid. Is it part of the war? Is it part of the conflict? Because Israelis carried an attack against a Lebanese army base in south of Lebanon and killed some soldiers. Is it acceptable?
I didn't follow the first part of your question.
Israeli airstrike carried an attack against Lebanese army base in the south. Is it acceptable?
I'll let, as I've said many times before, I'll let the Israeli Defense Forces speak to their airstrikes, to their military operations.
Is it part of the conflict?
I will let them speak to their operations, and we're not going to armchair quarterback their operations here from this podium. We're going to make sure that they have the security assistance they need to defend themselves.
So the UN expressed that there is no safe zones in the south, and now Israel is encouraging people to move more to the south. So is it a collective punishment again? And we're going to see more civilians dying in the south because there is no safe zones?
We don't want to see a single more civilian killed. We don't want to see a single more civilian injured. We don't want to see damage to civilian infrastructure like hospitals. And we have made that case, and we'll continue to make that case to our Israeli counterparts.
But you don't want to see, but nothing is changing on the ground. The CNN producer lost 9 members of his family today, killing journalists. Over 60 journalists died on the ground, even in South Lebanon. They're not a target, they were clearly journalists. What's really happening? So if we call Hamas a designated terrorist group killing civilians as a non-sector player, is it also Israel acting like a terror state, killing humans, civilians, unarmed people, journalists every day?
So again, we don't want to see civilian casualties. And sorry, just one more point. It's okay. I don't know if this is going to answer your question, but Hamas deliberately slaughtered and murdered some 1,200 people on the 7th of October. And it seems like we're all willing to forget that. Deliberately. It was their intent. And to take hostages. That was the purpose of the whole thing on the 7th. Now, we've been very honest with our Israeli counterparts. We want them to be careful, cautious, deliberate. We don't want to see any more civilians harmed on this. But they have a right and a responsibility to defend themselves against that very genocidal threat. And it is not the Israeli Defense Forces' strategy to kill innocent people. It's happening, I admit that. Each one's a tragedy. But it's not like the Israelis are sitting around every morning and saying, hey, how many more civilians can we kill today? Let's go bomb a school or a hospital or a residential building and cause civilian casualties. They're not doing that. They're trying to go after Hamas, and it's a very difficult task. When Hamas, oh, by the way, in addition to deliberately slaughtering people, is deliberately hiding themselves in residential buildings, in hospitals, in tunnels, putting the innocent people of Gaza directly in the crossfire. Now, you tell me, is that right?
Is that right? Please, sorry.
I think we got to move on.
Okay, sorry. They killed a colleague of mine. She was reporting live.
Jenny, thank you, Colleen.